Hey guys, welcome back to the Blue Trouser Brewery. I'm Owen and I'm bringing you another grain to glass video, and this one is going to be the big juicy banger. And oh god, why do I always sound like Jeremy Clarkson? I have brewed a fairly hefty beer that may possibly defy gravity. It's so heavy. So let's get into it. I'm calling it version 3, but there's been many more versions. This is a formal version 3. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of brew day footage I chucked up there. Didn't go nuts on that one, but gave you a little gist of what was going on. And as you saw, it was a lot of hops. So this New England IPA, it is one of my favourite styles of beer. I do really enjoy a big hazy beer. And this beer has come in at 7.4%. So it's not too far off the sort of double IPA territory. The main hops used in this were Motueka, Bru-1 and Sabro. Yeah, so I'll give you a little run through in terms of the recipe. So I went with a relatively straightforward grist, which was 5.5 kilos of Golden Promise, half a kilo of carapils, half a kilo of white wheat, and half a kilo of oats. So it was a fairly straightforward affair in terms of the grist, and I think actually having played around with it quite a bit in the past, using kind of different malts, honey malts, and kind of various other things in there. I actually think just keeping it simple and stripping it back sometimes is the best approach. But obviously the white wheat's in there just to give it that really silky body. The oats as well. So I just use standard. Some semi posh supermarket oats. So they were a bit bigger than your kind of real cheap oats. And I used some carapils just to add some nice dextrins in there, just add to the body as well. And Golden Promise obviously is a great base malt for this style of beer because it does add that little bit more of a rounded sweetness to the beer, rather than perhaps if you were to use Marisotta, it might get a little bit too bready. You can, I guess, alternatively always use just a plain pale malt, But I personally think Golden Promise or a 50-50 blend of Golden Promise and Pale Ale malt is a good base for New England. Water chemistry, always an important point on this style of beer. I went with a pretty wild kind of, I think it was something like a 15-to-1 ratio of chloride to sulfate. Now that might seem a little bit mad, but it is possible to do with RO water, and again, I think it just really enhances that body and gives you that incredible kind of thick, bordering kind of sort of soupy. That's probably a bad description. It just gives you that really thick body. So I added lots of calcium chloride, and I fermented this with Garden Quake, which I've used quite a lot before. This is a really good Quake yeast to use for this style of beer. Because there's no boil hops, and that particular type of yeast accentuates bitterness. So it was only whirlpool hops, it was only dry hops, and it also, when stressed, will give off very complementary flavours. So it will add like stone fruit flavours and tropical flavours and that sort of thing. What else happened in the brew day? It was a smooth brew day, and for once I actually came reasonably close to hitting the numbers in terms of efficiency and stuff. I always tend to find with A, higher ABV beers, and also B, beers that do have a lot of wheat and oats, that sort of thing, that sometimes efficiency can be a challenge to achieve. I did come under pre-boil, but recovered kind of that through the boil, and I think I only came in 1 point below. The recipe was calling for a 7.5% ABV, and I came in at 7.4. So the original gravity was 1069, and it finished at 1013. So not too bad at all. I mashed this at 68 degrees centigrade. So I'm sure you don't want to hear me prattle on and on and on about the brew day. Here she is in all her glory. I mean, I am very, very happy with the appearance of this beer. It's actually been in the keg for a good couple of weeks now, and it has needed some time to calm down. It did look a little bit like yogurt for a while, which I have actually had when using Sabro before. It's the first time I've used Motueka. In terms of the hops, I went Motueka heavy. I went with 100 grams of Motueka in the whirlpool, 50 grams of Bru-1, 50 grams of Sabro. I really wanted the Sabro just to play more of a supporting role rather than a dominant role. And in the dry hop, I think I went 150 grams of Motueka and 75 grams of Sabro and Bru-1. So I should be, in theory, getting like this coconut, lime, pineapple thing going on. And that was the thought around that combination of hops. So going back to the appearance, you know, I've got a really lovely yellow, darkish yellow colour. It is extremely opaque. The head is really tight, although not big and fluffy. Yeah, let's give it a sniff. Oh, yeah, I mean, with any beer with Sabro in it, I think you're immediately picking up the coconut. But it's nicely melded in with some really strong citrus fruit flavours. Maybe just a hint of stone fruit, but really you are getting quite a strong lime thing from the Motueka. Maybe getting some apricot. And the pineapple, I think it's It's not coming through super strong. It's kind of hidden in there. But yeah, I think on the aroma, I'm kind of hitting what I was hoping I would achieve. So, cheers, guys. On the flavour, up front, you're just getting like big citrus flavours. You're getting, and then it's rolling out off onto the malt sweetness and the coconut. So that's working really nicely. One thing we're maybe a little bit disappointed with is it's coming off a little bit boozy, which I guess you would expect in a 7.5% beer, but I was hoping that it would be a little more hidden. You know, wouldn't necessarily drink like its ABV. But it's subtle. It's not super boozy, but it's in there somewhere. It's got a really, really nice like upfront flavour, but then it does run off out into this kind of bitterness. It's not your conventional bitterness, as in like when you add boil hops. It kind of has this. I don't know whether it's slightly astringent. But it's got this, maybe this a bit of a kind of slight vegetal bitterness rolling off at the end. I mean, it is a notoriously difficult style to brew really well, especially this ABV, in my opinion. Not easily done, and you know, I'd probably give myself 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 for this effort. I'm pleased with it. I think maybe it would be better at a slightly lower ABV. It's perhaps, you know, one of those styles that not everyone's always super interested in brewing, actually. Often put off by different things: the cost, the complexity, the risk of oxidation. But it's a style that's always appealed to me. For one, I really enjoy it, and two, it's a technical brewing challenge that I have enjoyed trying to master over time. And you know, I think I'm getting closer. I think I am getting closer. But overall, I am happy with that. And I do have a very long list of people to send beer mail to, and I'm fully planning on sharing the burden of 30 odd pints of 7.5% beer with my friends. And you know who you are. So if anyone else would like a beer, would like to try this beer, then you know, drop a comment below, send me a message on Facebook. Bear in mind, I could probably only accommodate those in the UK, so apologies to anyone that's outside of the UK. And I'll do what I can to get you a beer so you can try it. And I would love to then know what you guys think of the beer and give me some feedback, because that would be super useful. See what you think. Is it a little bit boozy? Is it a little bit astringent? Do you get a weird bitterness at the end? Do you agree with my description of the aroma and flavours? What do you think of the body? does smell good. It does smell good. Yum. Mm-mm. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum.